guys, so today's video is actually going to be part 1 of a 2-part video, which is going to be me doing my nails. And the reason why it's going to be 2 parts is because I am going to be doing both hands, and they're going to be the same theme, but they're both going to have like different designs on them. So this is going to be broken up into 2 parts. Today's video is going to be me doing the bases for the nails, and then the next part will be doing all of the nail art on top. So the theme of this set is Alice in Wonderland, but it's going to be like a dark kind of spooky type of Alice in Wonderland theme. Also, I just want to mention, I do have a mic that I got, so whenever I do videos like this where I'm talking instead of doing a voiceover, I'm hoping that this mic actually works and it allows me to not have to yell as I'm doing stuff, because without it I was having to yell in order for like my voice to get picked up clearly on my phone. And that was not fun to do. That's why I always stuck to doing voiceovers. So hopefully this mic works and it makes my voice louder and clearer. If not, then I'll just stick to doing voiceovers, but we'll see. So like I said, this set is Alice in Wonderland theme, but like I said, it's going to be like a dark Alice in Wonderland, kind of like horror kind of. I did take elements from like the original cartoon version and then also from the Tim Burton version. So there is a little bit of elements from both, but it's all going to be very dark and horror like. So I did actually draw this one out because I had a lot of different ideas and I just wanted to plan it out and draw it out so I could actually like have a nice cohesive set. Usually I do just, you know, freestyle all of my sets. I don't plan anything out, I don't draw anything out, unless it's something super intense like this where there's like a whole lot of elements and I have a whole lot of ideas, then I will kind of sketch it out. But a lot of thought went into everything that I planned out here. So for my left hand here, I want to do like a swirl pattern with the White Rabbit's pocket watch. For the pointer, I want to do like a brown base and then do like a gold stamp design with some teacups that are like tipping over and spilling out. And the brown with the gold is going to be kind of like the Mad Hatter's hat in the Tim Burton version. So that's where that came from. The middle nail is going to be an all black base with the Cheshire. I struggle saying the cat's name. But his little face, hopefully it'll glow in the dark. And then I'm going to put We're All Mad here. And then for the ring, checker base with a 3D sculpted, the little drink that says drink me, that makes her teeny tiny. I think the drink makes her tiny. I'm pretty sure the drink makes her tiny. It's been a while since I've watched Alice in Wonderland. And then for the pinky, I'm going to do that like double French kind of look that's been going around. I think that's really cool, and I think it'll fit in really well with the Alice in Wonderland theme. But I'm going to do like a blue base, and then this part here is going to be white, and then have a black bow charm on there. And then for my right hand, I did more of the easier designs on here, obviously because I'm going to be doing this with my non-dominant hand, so I'm going to make sure both hands look really good. So harder stuff on the left hand, easier stuff on the right hand. For the thumb, I want to do like a green base to make it look like a bush with the white rose charms and have them look like they're painted red with like blood. The pointer, another spiral background with the little directions from when she's like in the woods or whatever. For the middle, another checkerboard background with the little eat me cookies that made her big. Again, I'm pretty sure the cookies made her big and the drink made her small, otherwise it's flipped. It's been a minute. And then for the ring, I'm going to do one of the little playing cards. I decided to go with the 3 of Hearts card because it's the Queen of Hearts, and then 3 is my lucky number, so that's that. And with some like blood splatter, I want to incorporate some more blood splatter throughout the set because I am going to have that here, and then like the roses are going to be painted with blood. So I do want to incorporate that more somewhere in here. I don't know, I'll have to see once I start doing it and how that goes. And then for the pinky, I am thinking about doing like a cream or a nude base with some, with like this rabbit sticker that I have. I have some really like creepy kind of gothic type of rabbit stickers that I thought would be really cool to represent the rabbit. And it sounds really plain right now, but like I said, once I get to doing all of this, there will probably end up being some changes. I might add some stuff, I might take away some stuff, and I do want to incorporate more of the blood elements, and that's also something on the teacups. I want them to look like they're like spilling out blood. So I don't know. Like I said, I want this to be really dark and kind of creepy, because that's kind of my thing. I like dark, creepy stuff. So, and I did get this idea to do this Alice in Wonderland set in October when I did my Bloody Bride set, because those, the white rose charms that I put the red gel on to make it look like, you know, blood is all over it. That's where that idea came from. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and start on the bases. I'll probably switch over to doing a voiceover for that because I cannot paint and talk at the same time. So I don't want this video to be super, super long. So I'm going to switch over to doing a voiceover, but I did just want to sit here and explain everything first before I got started with it. So yeah. Okay, so to start off, I'm taking the black from Ballpit, and I'm going to be painting the middle nail and the thumbnail on my left hand. I show these two on camera. I did paint one of the nails, I think, on my right hand with it, or maybe 2 with the black as well. I didn't show those because I'm like, you already seen me paint 2 nails black. But anyhow, I did 2 coats of the black on the middle nail here, and I only did 1 coat on the thumbnail because the thumbnail is going to get some cat eye put on top of it, so I didn't really need a second coat on the thumbnail. But the middle nail got 2 coats, the thumbnail got 1 coat, and everything got cured for 60 seconds. And now going in with Fudge Pop from Ballpit, I'm painting the pointer nail on my left hand. This got 2 coats, and each coat got cured for 60 seconds. I don't think I did any brown on my right hand. I can't remember everything that I did because it's been a while since I've done this set, and I've already removed it so I can do my next set. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I only did the brown on this one nail. Now going in with the white from Ballpit, I do 2 coats of this on the ring nail, and I cure each coat for 60 seconds. I think I also did... yeah, I did one of the nails on my right hand with that as well, but again, I didn't show that on camera since it's the same color and I've already showed me painting it on this one hand. I don't need to show like doing the same thing over and over again. Because this video is already pretty long and I cut out as much as I could. I even sped up some of the parts so it wasn't as long, but it is still on the longer side. And then I took Sea Breeze from Tron Legend, painted this on the pinky nail, did 2 coats of this, cured each coat for 60 seconds. And then I didn't show this color for some reason, but I'm pretty sure this is Cheesecake from Ballpit, and I did 2 coats of this and I cured each coat for 60 seconds. And then for the last nail that I show me painting is the thumbnail on my right hand, and I painted that with Cabin Fever from Ballpit. Again, 2 coats of this, cured each coat for 60 seconds. So here are all of the base colors done. Right now they don't look like they would be for Alice in Wonderland, but once everything's on, they'll make sense. Now I'm gonna go in and do like any of the nail art that goes on top of the bases, like the background, not like how this one's gonna have the pocket watch on it. I'm not going to do that part, but I am going to do the little swirl on it and like do the stamping on that and all that. And again, I'm going to go ahead and switch back over to doing a voiceover. Otherwise, this is going to take forever. And now for the fun part of the video, all of the nail art. Some of the nail art that's going on top of these nails, at least for like the background bases of the rest of the nail art that's going to go on top of them. For the pinky nail, I'm using the Angel White liner gel from Ballpit to create that like double French look. I don't know what we're calling this design, but it's like you do a normal regular like smile French line, and then you do like a reverse one coming from the free edge. So yeah, I don't really know what we're calling this design, but this is what I'm doing here. I did have to redo this a few times. I think I showed me doing it the first time, and then I showed me here doing it the final time. There was quite a few times in between the first time I did it and doing it here this final time and finally getting it. I did cut all of that out because, again, this video is long. I didn't want to make it any longer than it needed to be. But this design did take me a couple tries to get it down. I am using, I think this is a 15mm liner brush, because the longer brush helps when doing like long lines and like French tip kind of lines and stuff like that. And I just felt like it would make it a lot easier to do this design with the 15mm. So doing it using a 15mm liner brush and just drawing on those little like smile lines coming down from like, you know, the nail bed area and then coming up from the free edge area, and then I just fill that all in. And I could have used the regular white nail polish or gel polish, but I felt like it'd be easier to do this with the liner gel because it is thicker and it would stay in place better, and I wouldn't run the risk of having to do a second coat with it. With the white from Ballpit, you usually don't have to do a second coat, but there is always the chance that you might have to, depending on the base color and like what you're doing and stuff. So I didn't want to have to end up doing 2 coats of this white, so that's why I just went in with the liner gel because it's thicker, it's super pigmented. I knew I wasn't going to have to do a second coat with this. And then once I got this on, I did flash cure it because I knew I was going to be putting my hand in and out of the lamp a whole bunch, and instead of sitting there for 60 seconds every single time, I was doing little flash cures in between. There are times where I do a full 60 seconds, but that's just because I was having to put more stuff on top of it. But for the most part, I was doing like real quick little flash cures just to lock everything in place. But if there is a time where I did 60 seconds, I will let you know. And now going in with the Emo Black Liner Gel from Ballpit and that same 15mm liner brush, I'm doing the checkerboard design on the ring nail here. And I'm using the liner gel for the same reason that I used the liner gel on the pinky nail, because it's thicker, it'll stay in place better. I won't have to do a second coat, all of that. Checkerboard. I hate doing checkerboard on nails, and I always say I hate doing checkerboard on nails, and then I always end up doing checkerboard on nails at some point. Like, I don't know why I do this to myself, but whenever I do checkerboard nails, I don't do any curing until I get it completely finished. And I've mentioned this before whenever I've done checkerboard nails, also with like even plaid nails. It's kind of the same thing with all the different lines. I don't cure in between any of the lines or anything, because I don't like how when you cure one line and then you do a second line over top of it, because that first line is cured, that second layer of polish doesn't, like, they don't blend together and like melt together, so it's one even level. They do cross over each other, and that's like, in this case, because I have the white on the base and then I have the black line, if I would have cured this black line and then did another black line on top of it, that's 3 coats of polish right there in that little section where all 3 of those colors are overlapping, and it's going to leave a little bump. It's really not that noticeable of a bump, and it's like whatever. It gets once you top coat it, it really is unnoticeable, but to me, I notice it and I don't like it, and like I tend to rub my fingers over my nails because I like the way that like the shiny top coat feels or whatever. So I would feel that little bump if I was like running my fingers over it or whatever, and I don't like that. So I do wait until everything is completely done to cure, especially with checkerboard nails here. Also, with checkerboard nails, it always takes me several tries to get it right and to get like the spacing even and all of that. This right here, I think, is the first try that I did, and it didn't work out, so I did have to wipe off the entire nail, which is also why I don't do any flash curing in between, because while those first 2 lines that I did vertically down the nail might look fine before I get all of the horizontal lines on, once I got them on, you can see like this middle section here is more rectangular rather than square, and if I would have cured those first 2 lines on, it would have looked rectangular no matter what, because that section right there is so thin and skinny that any line, all the horizontal lines that I would do would end up making the sections look rectangular instead of square. So that's why I wait until the very end after I get all the lines done and all the squares filled and see what it looks like completely done before curing. Otherwise, I would have to do like some filing and buffing and run the risk of buffing off the white layer there and just having to redo this entire nail, which is going to be a pain in the butt. So it's a lot easier just to leave everything uncured, like the checkerboard part that you're doing, leave that all uncured until you're completely finished, and then you don't have to worry about like having to file stuff off or like buff stuff off. You can easily just wipe it all off and go. But if you are more comfortable with flash curing in between, then you can do that. However, I personally don't recommend that, because like I said, if it ends up looking not right once you're done with it and stuff is cured on already, you're going to have to file and buff, and that's just way more of a hassle, in my opinion, than just wiping it off with some alcohol and then restarting it. But yeah, this nail took a few tries, and I only showed this one time doing it on camera because it does take forever to do checkerboard nails, especially on a long nail like this. So you do only see me doing this first little part right there, and then here it is finished and it looks good. It did take 2 or 3 tries, I think, to get that the way that I wanted it to look. But once I got it, it looks pretty good. For this nail here, I am going to be doing a stamp design, and I'm going to do some chrome on it. So right now, I'm just taking the anti-chrome matte top coat from Ballpit, applying this to the entire nail. That way, none of the chrome sticks to the brown part of the nail, and it sticks to what I'm stamping on top. This is the stamping plate that I'm using and the stamping gel that I'm using. This stamping plate is super old. It's probably well over 10 years old. So I can't link that, but everything else I can link in the video. The stamping plate is the only one that I can't link, but there are plenty of other stamping plates that exist that have like similar type of designs and whatever like that. The stamping gel that I'm using is from Varnail, I think. I only have a brown stamping gel and a white stamping gel, and I didn't want to use the white because I felt like it was going to make the gold too gold, if that makes any sense. Like, it was going to be super bright and not be like a darker kind of gold. If I had black, I would have used black for this, but I didn't, so I used the brown, and it worked well because it is a darker color. And then I put the gel on the plate, scraped it off, picked it up with my stamper, and then any extra little bits from the surrounding area of the stamp that I don't want to get on the nail, I just took a piece of tape and picked that up with the tape, because you don't want to use like acetone or alcohol on your stamper, because that will ruin your stamper. Whenever you clean the stamper, you do want to use tape or like a lint roller or something. And then I just stamped it. I rolled it on the plate to pick up the image, and then for that first section there on the nail, I did roll it on the nail, but it kind of smudged the design. So when I did the second section, I just pressed it down and I didn't roll it, and it worked better, and the design wasn't smudged on there. I did low-key kind of hate doing the stamping because it did get gel all over my skin, and obviously we don't want that. So as soon as I got the design stamped on, I did wipe that off immediately with alcohol, but obviously we want to try to avoid getting gel all over our skin, which is kind of hard when you're doing the stamping design, especially like up around the cuticle area and all of that. And then after that, I cured for 30 seconds and then took my gold chrome, rubbed that all in, and that is how it's looking. You can kind of see that the top half is smudged, whereas the bottom half isn't smudged. Also, it didn't go all the way to the edges of the nail, which I wasn't really concerned about that because there's going to be stuff going on top of it. I'm like, no one's going to pay attention to that. But if you are worried about the design going all the way to the edge, just make sure you are stamping on the edge there to make sure that it is going all the way. And then I sealed that in with some top coat and cured that for 60 seconds. Oh, before I put the top coat on, after I did the chrome, I did cure that for a full 60 seconds because I did only partially cure it. And if you're partially curing the gel to apply the chrome, you do have to go back in and fully cure it, so that way the polish is fully cured underneath and you don't have any uncured gel on your nails causing allergies and all that jazz. Then I top coated, cured for 60 seconds, moved on to the thumb. I'm using, I think it's Here Lies Myers, could be wrong. You saw it on the screen there though, from Nails by Dev. It's a silver cat eye with like some hollow glitter pieces in there as well. For the cat eye nails, the cat eye swirl nails, I applied the cat eye polish, and then I took my rectangular magnet, brought up all the pieces before going in and doing the little swirl design here with the pen magnet. Whenever you're doing a design in cat eye, you do want to bring all of those pieces up to the surface first in order to get a really clean and crisp design. If I were to have just gone in, applied the cat eye polish, and then went in with the pen magnet, you would have seen the swirl, but it wouldn't have been as defined as it is since I brought up all those pieces first. And then once I got the cat eye swirl done, I did stick my entire right hand in the lamp for a full 60 seconds to make sure that everything was completely cured. Then I moved on to my left hand. I think I said my right hand. Hold on. I moved on to my right hand right now. I cured my left hand for a full 60 seconds. Now I'm working on my right hand. I don't know why I just confused myself so bad like that. Anyhow, as you can see, I already have the swirl and the checkerboard done on my right hand. I already showed how I did it on my left hand, so I didn't need to show it again here on my right hand, especially the checkerboard, because that took forever. Now I'm just going in on the pinky and taking some various shades of brown from Ballpit and just sponging those on. If you watched my last gothic themed set where I used the nail molds, I did this same thing on that set as well to kind of give it that vintagey gothic type of paper look on the nail. The only differences between that set and this set is that I did add some red in it to kind of give it a little sort of blood effect to it, because like I said in the beginning, this is kind of a horror themed Alice in Wonderland set, so I did want it to be really dark and spooky and have the blood there to be the horror element or whatever. So I'm just taking the different shades, the different colors here, sponging them on, and then I take a separate sponge to blend them all out. So I'll take one sponge to sponge on the color, and then the other sponge to blend it all out and make it blend into the nail and give it that dirty kind of paper look or whatever, old piece of paper kind of look. I don't know what you want to call it, but I just layered those on until I got it the way I wanted, and I didn't cure it until it was how I wanted it to look. And I did do a quick flash cure before moving on to the next nail. And here I'm just mixing up a bunch of the different browns and the reds in to that green color that I used on the thumbnail, because I am going to do the same thing on the thumbnail to create a bush look, because that thumbnail is going to be the rose bush with the roses painted red. And I was originally going to leave it just the plain green, but I felt like it was a little flat and needed some more dimension on it, so I did mix up some various shades of green here to be dark green and have some brown in it and whatever, to give it more dimension and actually make it look more like a bush. And then I just did the same thing that I did on that pinky nail. I took a sponge, dipped it in the color, pat that color all over the nail, took a different sponge to blend it out, and just kept layering those on until I got the desired look that I was looking for. And then I did go ahead and stick my hand in to cure for a full 60 seconds because that was the last nail that I did on this hand. All of the other nails were only like flash cured. But once I finished this last one, I did do a full 60-second cure to make sure that everything was completely cured. And then that was it for all of the bases for this set. Once this section is done here, I will come back in like when I was filming and I was like talking as I was doing it. So I'm just gonna go ahead, let this play out, and then it'll finish out whenever it finishes out. Okay, so my mic died on me earlier, and I don't know if what I was saying was caught on the mic, but I'll figure out whenever I go to edit everything. But anyhow, I finished all of the bases for the nails. They are looking really good so far. I'm gonna have to do the rest of this tomorrow because it is late and I'm tired and I want to go to bed. But this is how the bases are looking. I mean, I was gonna end the video at this point anyhow, but you know, I could have, if it wasn't so late, I would go ahead and do the second part of the video and do all the nail art on top, but I'm stopping here for today. And then I did this off camera because I could barely do this one on camera. Actually, I couldn't even do it all on camera. I did have to do that one off camera as well. And since I was doing this with my dominant hand, there was no way I was going to be able to do this with my non-dominant hand on camera. I think I filmed this one. I know I definitely got this one, but I can't remember if I hit record on this one or not. But I definitely got the pinky and the thumb. I know that much. But I wanted to get both of the cat eye nails on film because I just think it's really satisfying to watch Cat Eye like move around and everything, but I don't know. Anyhow, these are the bases. They came out so good. I'm super happy with them so far. I can't wait to finish these and get all of the nail art done. They do look pretty wild right now, and it is kind of like if you don't really know what I'm doing, you have no idea what's going on here, and you're like, none of this makes sense and none of it goes together or anything. But hopefully once it's all said and done, it all comes together and it flows well, and you can tell. I'm sure it will once everything is said and done and all the nail art is on. It should come together. This one looks like camo, honestly, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I'm super excited to see how these are once they're all finished. I will say with this one, I was going back and forth between two patterns, and this one definitely covers up the brown a lot more than what I was wanting. I probably should have went with the other pattern, but I didn't. I went with this one because I really like this pattern. I didn't quite like the other one as much. I do wish that the brown showed through more, but it's fine. It looks good. I feel like it definitely gives like Mad Hatter pattern. But yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you stick around to watch the second part of it and get to see the end result of these nails. Because like I said, right now they're looking kind of funky and like, what is going on here? What is this all supposed to be? But I do really like them. I'm really happy with how they came out. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.